I'm sitting in my car outside a Walgreens, and I literally cannot process what just happened in the last 2 hours. So I'm typing this out because I need someone to tell me I'm not losing my mind. I left work early today, like actually early, which I never do because our schedule is packed. But I had a cancellation for my last appointment, and my boss told me to just go home. I've been feeling off for 2 weeks, exhausted and nauseous. And this morning, I finally bought a pregnancy test on my lunch break and took it in the Walgreens bathroom like some kind of teen movie character. 2 lines, pregnant. I'm 28 years old, been with Justin for almost 2 years, and we've talked about marriage and kids eventually. So, while this is sooner than planned, I wasn't freaking out. I was actually excited, like giddy excited. I bought sparkling cider and those little chocolate cupcakes he likes from the bakery section and drove home planning this whole cute reveal. Got to our apartment around 3:30 p.m. and Justin's car was in the parking lot, which was weird because he works from home, but usually goes to the gym around this time. I'm walking up the stairs to our second floor unit with my grocery bag, and I can hear him through the door loud talking and laughing. I open the door quietly because I was going to surprise him, and I hear him say she actually thinks getting knocked up will keep me around. What a delusional idiot. He's at his desk in the living room on facing away from me playing some game, and his Discord is up on his monitor. I can see like 4 other guys in the voice channel, and Justin keeps going. I'm already apartment hunting in Denver with my actual girlfriend. I'll make her pay for the abortion, then block her everywhere. One of his friends goes, "Dude, that's cold," and laughs like it's a joke, like I'm a joke. And Justin just says, "She's just practiced for the real thing. Monica's everything she's not smart, hot, going places. This one's just convenient until I leave next month." I pulled out my phone, hands shaking so bad I almost dropped it. Started recording a voice memo and just stood there in my own apartment doorway listening to my boyfriend of 2 years. Tell his gaming friends that I'm practice, that he has a real girlfriend named Monica in Denver, that he's leaving next month, that he's going to make me pay for an abortion for a baby I just found out about 20 minutes ago. His friend Troy asks if I even know he's leaving. And Justin goes, "Nah, she has no idea. I've been telling her work might transfer me, but I'm actually quitting and moving. Already got a job lined up out there. Monica set it up through her company." Another friend asks how long he's been seeing Monica, and Justin says about 8 months. 8 months. We've been living together for a year and a half, and he's had a whole girlfriend in another state for 8 months. I recorded for like 3 minutes before Justin turned around to grab his water bottle and saw me standing there. His face went completely white. He goes, "Babe, when did you get home?" And I just held up my phone showing him the recording screen. The cupcakes fell out of the grocery bag onto the floor. I didn't even notice I dropped it. Justin stood up and started toward me going, "Wait, let me explain." That's not what it sounds like. And I said, "It sounds like you have a girlfriend named Monica in Denver and you think I'm delusional for being pregnant with your baby." He goes, "You're what?" And I pulled the pregnancy test out of my purse and threw it at him. It hit him in the chest and fell on the floor between us. He looked down at it and then back at me and goes, "Okay, we need to talk about this rationally." And I laughed like full crazy laugh. Asked him, "What's rational about planning to abandon your pregnant girlfriend while screwing someone else in another state?" He started with this whole speech about how things between us haven't been good for a while, and he's been unhappy, and Monica understands him in ways I don't. I asked him when exactly things haven't been good because 2 days ago we were planning a weekend trip to the coast, and last week he told me he loved me every single day. He goes, "That's just stuff you say," and I lost it. Started yelling about how he's been lying to my face for 8 months while I paid half the rent and cooked dinners and did his laundry and planned a future with him. He tried to say he was going to tell me eventually, and I asked when he's loading a U-Haul next month. He got defensive, then said I'm overreacting, and he never promised me forever and people grow apart. I asked about Monica, and he got this look on his face like he wanted to lie but knew I already heard everything. He said they met online through a gaming community and started talking and developed feelings, and she lives in Denver where he's always wanted to move anyway, so it just made sense. Made sense like I'm a logistics problem he's solving. I asked if she knows about me, and he goes she knows I have a roommate, and I screamed roommate at him. Told him I'm not his roommate. I'm his girlfriend of 2 years who he sleeps next to every night and says, "I love you too." He said, "It's complicated and they have an understanding." And I asked if that understanding includes him getting his roommate pregnant. He looked at the test on the floor again and said, "We need to figure that out and he'll pay for half the abortion." I told him to get out. He said, "This is his apartment too." And I said, "Then I'll leave." And I went into our bedroom and started throwing my stuff into trash bags. He followed me saying we should talk about this like adults and make a plan. And I told him the plan is I'm leaving right now, and he can have the apartment and Monica and Denver and his gaming friends who think I'm a joke. He tried to grab my arm, and I yanked it away so hard I hit my elbow on the dresser. Told him don't touch me, and he backed off saying he's sorry. He didn't want me to find out like this. He was going to tell me in a few weeks once he had everything arranged. Once he had everything arranged, like my life is an inconvenience he was going to handle on his timeline. I filled 3 trash bags with my clothes and toiletries and stuff. Left everything else because I just wanted out. He kept following me around the apartment trying to talk, and I ignored him completely. Grabbed my laptop and my important documents from the desk drawer and my grandmother's necklace from the jewelry box. He goes, "Where are you even going to go?" And I said, "Anywhere that's not here with you." He said, "We need to discuss the pregnancy situation." And I told him, "There is no we anymore. There's just me dealing with a pregnancy I just found out about," while listening to him call me delusional and convenient. I loaded everything into my car and he came down to the parking lot in his socks going, "Please, just come back inside and let's talk." I got in my car and locked the doors and he's standing there in the parking lot going, "I love you." And I said through the closed window, "No, you don't. You love Monica." Drove to my sister Louise's house, which is 20 minutes away. She wasn't home from work yet, so I just sat in her driveway with all my stuff and cried for like 30 minutes. Then I opened my phone and looked at the voice recording I made. Listened to the whole thing again to make sure I didn't hallucinate it. Nope, it's all there, crystal clear. Justin calling me delusional and convenient in practice. Him talking about Monica and Denver and making me pay for an abortion. His friends laughing. I texted Louise that I'm sitting outside her house and it's an emergency. She called immediately freaking out asking if I'm okay, and I said physically yes, emotionally absolutely not, and I'm pregnant. She left work right then and got home in 15 minutes. Found me still sitting in my car, and I showed her the recording. Watched her face go from confused to furious while she listened. When it ended, she said, "We're going inside and you're telling me everything, and also we're ordering pizza because you need food." We're sitting in her living room now, and I just played the recording for her husband Jude, who looks like he wants to drive to my apartment and fight Justin. Louise asked what I'm going to do, and honestly, I don't know. I'm pregnant with a baby from a man who's been cheating on me for 8 months and planning to abandon me next month. I have a recording of him saying horrible things about me to his friends. I left the apartment with 3 trash bags of stuff, and now I'm camping in my sister's guest room. Part of me wants to send that recording to everyone. His parents, who I've had dinner with a dozen times. His sister, Kaylee, who I thought was my friend. Monica, who apparently thinks I'm just Justin's roommate. But another part of me is sitting here thinking about the pregnancy test in my purse and trying to figure out what I'm even going to do about that. Louise says I should send the recording to his parents right now and let them know what their son is really like. Jude says I should post it on social media and tag Justin and Monica both. My mom, who Louise called without asking me, is driving over right now and will probably have her own opinions. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm keeping this baby or not. I don't know if I'm going to publicly destroy Justin or just walk away. I don't know anything except that 2 hours ago, I thought I was going to surprise my boyfriend with happy news. And instead, I found out my entire relationship has been a lie. Shout out to everyone who's probably thinking, "Why didn't you throw the cupcakes at his face instead of dropping them?" Honestly, same, but I was in shock. Do I send the recording? Do I call Monica? Do I tell his family? Do I just disappear and let him wonder? I have so much rage right now, I can barely think straight. First update. Okay, so Wednesday night turned into absolute chaos, and I'm still processing everything that happened in the last 24 hours. My mom got to Lewis's house around 6:00 p.m. She listened to the recording twice with this look on her face like she was memorizing every word so she could testify in court. When it ended the second time, she said that boy needs to face consequences. And I said, "I know, but I don't know what to do yet." Louise ordered pizza like she promised. And we all sat around her kitchen table while I ugly cried into pepperoni slices and tried to figure out my next move. My mom wanted me to call Justin's parents immediately. Jude said I should find Monica on social media first and send her the recording. Louise said I should do both, plus post it everywhere so Justin can't control the narrative. I pulled out my phone and looked at my text. Justin had sent me 14 messages in 2 hours. Stuff like, "Please come back so we can talk, and I know you're upset, but let me explain." And the worst one was, "I love you and I don't want to lose you." I showed them to everyone and my mom actually laughed. Said he doesn't love you, sweetie. He loves having his laundry done and rent split while he plans his escape. That hit me so hard because she's right. I've been doing his laundry for 2 years while he called me practice to his gaming friends. Jude asked if I knew Monica's last name and I said no, but I know she works for some company in Denver that's hearing Justin. He pulled out his laptop and started searching. Asked me what gaming community they met through and I said, "I think Justin mentioned some MMO he plays, but I don't know which one." While Jude was searching, my phone started ringing. Justin calling. I stared at it and Louise said, "Don't answer that." And I said, "Actually, I want to hear what he has to say." Put it on speaker and answered. Justin goes, "Oh, thank God you picked up where R.E. Chinese letter you." And I said, "I'm somewhere safe away from you." He said, "He's been trying to reach me for hours and we really need to talk about everything." I asked him what exactly does he want to talk about. The part where he has a girlfriend in Denver or the part where he called me delusional for being pregnant with his baby. He got quiet and then said he knows he messed up, but those things he said weren't really how he feels. I laughed, asked him, "So, you don't actually have a girlfriend named Monica and you're not moving to Denver next month?" He said, "It's more complicated than that and I need to understand his perspective." His perspective. I asked what perspective makes it okay to cheat on your girlfriend for 8 months while planning to abandon her. He said he wasn't cheating exactly because Monica knew about me. I said, "But I didn't know about Monica, so yes, that's literally cheating." He tried to explain that what he and Monica have is different than what we have. That we were more comfortable and familiar, but Monica challenges him and makes him want to be better. I asked my mom sitting right there if she was hearing this, and she actually grabbed the phone from me. My mom goes, "Justin, this is Sandra, and you need to stop calling my daughter because you've done enough damage." Justin stuttered and said, "Mrs. Garcia, I can explain everything if she'd just give me a chance." And my mom said there's nothing to explain. You're a liar and a cheat and you don't deserve another second of her time. Then she hung up on him. We all just sat there stunned because my mom is usually so calm and polite. But she was fired up. She said, "I raised you better than to accept this treatment and you're not going back to that apartment or that boy." My phone rang again immediately. Justin again. I didn't answer. He called 4 more times and then started texting saying he's coming to Louie's house if I don't talk to him. Louise said, "Over my dead body, he knows where I live." And Jude said, "If he shows up, I'm calling the cops." Then Jude found Monica's LinkedIn profile. Looks exactly like what I expected. Perfect professional photos and one of those bios about innovation and leadership. Her Instagram is public and there's photos of her at concerts and hiking and with friends. Nothing with Justin, obviously, because I'm supposed to think he's single. I asked Jude to send me her Instagram handle. Sat there staring at her profile, trying to decide if I should message her. Louise said, "Do it." She deserves to know the truth. My mom said, "Send her the recording and screenshots of Justin's recent texts to you." So I did. Opened Instagram DMs and typed out a message to Monica. Said, "Hi, you don't know me, but I'm Justin's girlfriend of 2 years, and we live together, and I'm pregnant, and he's been lying to both of us." Attached the voice recording file and screenshots of Justin texting me, "I love you that morning," plus a photo of us together from last month. Hit send before I could overthink it. My hands were shaking so bad. Not even 5 minutes later, Monica viewed my message. Then she started typing. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared like 10 times. Finally, she sent back, "Wait, what the fuck?" I replied, "I found out today by accident." Recorded him saying, "You're his real girlfriend and I'm just practice. Thought you should know." She sent back a string of messages asking if this was real, and when did we start dating and do we really live together. I sent her photos. Me and Justin at our apartment. Us on vacation last year, him asleep in our bed, my key to the apartment on my keychain. Everything I could think of to prove this wasn't some crazy stalker situation. Monica stopped responding for like 10 minutes, and I just sat there refreshing Instagram constantly. Then she messaged back, "I'm going to call him right now." And my stomach dropped because I wasn't ready for that confrontation yet, but she did. My phone rang at 7:45 p.m. Justin. I answered on speaker again, and he was yelling, going, "What the hell did you send to Monica, and why are you trying to ruin my life?" I said, "I sent her the truth, which is apparently more than you've given either of us." He said I had no right to contact her, and I'm being vindictive and crazy. There it is, crazy. I asked him how exactly I'm crazy for telling your girlfriend that you have another girlfriend. He said, "Monica isn't my girlfriend. We're just talking and exploring things." And I said, "You told your Discord friends you're moving in with her and she's your actual girlfriend. So which is it?" He started backtracking, saying he exaggerated to sound cool to his friends, that Monica is just a friend who's helping him with a job opportunity. I said, "That's weird because you also said she's smart and hot and everything." "I'm not." He goes, "I was drunk when I said that stuff and it didn't mean anything." I asked if he was drunk at 3:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, and he got quiet. Then he said, "Look, can we please just talk in person because this is getting out of hand?" I said, "No, I'm not meeting you anywhere." He said he's not leaving Denver. He's not moving. It was all just talk and he wants to work this out. Work this out. After calling me delusional and convenient in practice, I told him there's nothing to work out and we're done, and he needs to figure out living arrangements because I'm not coming back to that apartment. He tried to argue about the lease and how we're both on it. And I said, "Then you pay the whole rent yourself since Monica apparently isn't happening anymore." He said, "That's not fair." And I said, "Neither is cheating on your pregnant girlfriend, but here we are." My mom grabbed the phone again and told Justin to stop harassing her daughter, and if he calls one more time, she's filing a police report. Justin said, "Mrs. Garcia, please, you don't understand the whole situation." And my mom said, "I understand perfectly." Goodbye, Justin, hung up again. Around 8:30 p.m., Louie's doorbell rang. We all looked at each other, and Jude went to check the door camera. It was Justin standing on the porch in the same clothes from earlier, looking absolutely wrecked. Jude did not open the door, used the camera intercom and said, "You need to leave my property right now." Justin started going, "I just need to talk to her for 5 minutes, please." Jude said she doesn't want to talk to you, and if you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Justin looked directly at the camera and said, "Baby, I know you're in there. Please just give me a chance to explain everything." I walked up behind Jude and used the intercom myself. Told Justin there's nothing left to explain and he needs to go home. He said, "Home is wherever you are." And I gagged, like literally made a disgusted noise. I said, "Don't try that romantic crap after what you said about me today." He goes, "I didn't mean any of it. I was just venting to my friends and being stupid." I asked him to explain the girlfriend in Denver. Then he said, "Monica isn't his girlfriend. They're just friends and he talks to lots of people online, and it doesn't mean anything." By this point, Jude already had his phone out ready to call 911. He told Justin he has 60 seconds to get off the property. Justin tried the doorknob, which was locked obviously, and then just stood there looking pathetic. Finally, he left, and I watched on the camera as he sat in his car in the driveway for another 20 minutes before driving away. I couldn't sleep Wednesday night. Just lay in Louie's guest room scrolling through my phone. Justin texted from 2 different numbers after I blocked his main one. Messages saying he made a terrible mistake and he wants to fix things and please don't throw away 2 years over one bad day. One bad day. Like him having an 8-month affair and planning to abandon me is equivalent to forgetting my birthday or something. Thursday morning, I woke up feeling so nauseous, but I don't know if it's pregnancy or stress or both. Louise made me eat toast and told me I need to see a doctor about the pregnancy regardless of what I decide to do. My mom, who stayed over in Louise's other guest room, agreed and said she'd make me an appointment for next week. Around 10:00 a.m., my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. Answered, and it was Kay, Justin's sister. She goes, "I heard what happened and I need to know if it's true." I asked what Justin told her, and she said he called their parents crying last night saying I kicked him out over a misunderstanding, and now I'm spreading lies about him online. I said it's not lies. I have a recording of him saying horrible things about me while I was standing in our apartment doorway holding a positive pregnancy test. Kay got quiet and then asked if I could send her the recording. I did right there while we were on the phone. She called me back 5 minutes later sobbing. Said she can't believe her brother would do this, and she's so sorry and she had no idea. I told her I had no idea either until yesterday. She asked what she should do and I said, honestly, I don't know, but I'm not protecting Justin from consequences anymore. Kay said she's telling their parents everything that Justin's been lying to them, too, because they think he and I are doing great and planning to get engaged soon. I said, well, he's been planning to move to Denver with another woman instead, so maybe they should know that. She hung up and I just sat there wondering if I was being vindictive, like Justin said, or if I was just standing up for myself. Louise said, standing up for yourself isn't vindictive, and people who get caught doing terrible things always try to make you feel bad for exposing them. Thursday afternoon, Justin's mom called me. Simone. I answered because I figured she'd call eventually and I might as well get it over with. She asked if we could meet somewhere to talk about everything, and I said, I don't think that's a good idea. She said she's not trying to make excuses for Justin, but she'd like to hear my side before making any judgments. We ended up agreeing to meet at a diner downtown Thursday evening. I brought Louise with me because I didn't trust myself alone with Justin's mom. Plus, I wanted a witness. We sat in a booth, and Simone looked like she'd been crying. Asked me to play the recording for her, even though Kay already sent it. I played it, watched her face crumble as she heard her son call me delusional and convenient. When it ended, she said, I'm so sorry. And I had no idea he was capable of this. I told her neither did I, or I wouldn't have wasted 2 years with him. She asked about the pregnancy and I said, I'm still figuring that out. She said, whatever I decide, she supports me and she's horrified by Justin's behavior. Then she said something that made me realize there's so much more I don't know. She asked if Justin ever mentioned that he did something similar before to his ex-girlfriend Lee about 3 years ago. I said, what do you mean? And Simone explained that Justin had a girlfriend in college who he cheated on and then ghosted when she found out. Just completely disappeared on her and blocked her everywhere. I felt sick. He has a pattern of this. I'm not the first person he's done this to. I asked why Simone never mentioned this when Justin and I started dating, and she said she thought he'd grown up and changed, and she didn't want to interfere in his relationships. Louise looked at me across the table, and I could tell she was thinking the same thing I was. Justin has done this before multiple times, and somehow I thought I was special. Second update. After leaving the diner with Simone, I got back to Lewis's house around 8:00 p.m. and I was exhausted, emotionally drained from hearing that Justin has done this before, from playing that recording for his mom, from everything. I was lying in the guest bed scrolling through my phone when Louise knocked and said, Justin's dad is calling me. I looked at my screen and sure enough, incoming call from Kingsley. Justin's dad, who I've always gotten along with great, who helped us move into our apartment, who took me and Justin out for my birthday last year. I answered and immediately Kingsley goes, I need you to explain to me what's going on because Justin is at our house right now. Absolutely hysterical, saying, you're destroying his life over nothing. I took a breath and said, it's not nothing. Justin cheated on me for 8 months with a woman in Denver, and I only found out because I overheard him on Discord telling his friends about it. Kingsley said Justin told him it was all a misunderstanding and I'm twisting things and he never actually cheated. I said, I have a recording of the entire conversation if he wants to hear it. He said, yes, send it right now. So I did through text. There was silence on the line for like 3 minutes while he listened. Then I heard him say something muffled like he was talking to someone else in the room, probably Simone. When he came back, he said, this is very concerning, but he needs to hear Justin's side before making any decisions. I asked what side their eyes to hear when Justin literally said, I'm just practice. And Monica is his real girlfriend. Kingsley said, sometimes young men say stupid things they don't mean when they're trying to impress their friends. I laughed, told him Justin is 29 years old, not some teenager, and he wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was stating his actual plans. Kingsley said relationships are complicated, and maybe Justin was feeling trapped or pressured and acted out. I asked if he seriously just blamed me for Justin cheating, and he backtracked saying that's not what he meant, but every story has 2 sides. I told him the 2 sides, or I thought we were building a life together, and Justin was planning to abandon me next month with a woman I didn't know existed. Kingsley said I'm being emotional, which is understandable given my condition, but I should think carefully before making permanent decisions. My condition, like being pregnant, is making me irrational. I said, I'm thinking very clearly, actually, and Justin showed me exactly who he is. Kingsley goes, he's my son, and I know he's made mistakes, but he's a good person deep down. And everyone deserves a second chance. I asked him if he gave Lee a second chance after Justin ghosted her, or if Justin just moved on to the next girl without consequences. Kingsley got quiet. Then he said that was years ago and not relevant to this situation. I said, it's completely relevant because it shows Justin does this to women and never faces any real accountability. He tried to say, I don't know the full story with Lee. And I said, I know enough. That Justin has a pattern of lying and cheating and bailing when things get hard. Kingsley said I'm being very harsh and judgmental, and maybe if I tried to understand Justin's perspective, I'd see things differently. I told him I understand perfectly. Justin wanted a backup plan in case Denver didn't work out, so he kept me around while pursuing Monica. Kingsley said that's not fair and Justin loves me and is devastated right now. I said if he loved me, he wouldn't have called me delusional and convenient to his Discord friends. Kingsley asked what I want him to do, and I said nothing. This is between me and Justin, and I only answered his call out of respect. He said respect would be giving his son a chance to make things right. I told him Justin had 8 months of chances, and he chose to keep lying, so I'm done giving chances. Then I heard shouting in the background. Justin yelling something I couldn't make out. Kingsley said he had to go, and we talked later and hung up. Not even 10 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. Justin texting from yet another new number going. My dad said, you're refusing to even consider working this out, and you're being unreasonable. I didn't respond. He sent like 15 messages in a row about how I'm not being fair and he deserves to explain himself, and I'm making decisions while emotional. I was about to block that number too when he called. I answered on speaker with Louise there, and Justin immediately goes, why are you turning my whole family against me? I said, I'm not turning anyone against you. You did that yourself by cheating and lying. He said his parents are devastated and his sister won't talk to him, and it's all because I sent that recording around. I asked him what he expected me to do. Just pretend I didn't hear him planning to leave me. He said I could have talked to him privately instead of involving everyone. I laughed, told him he lost the right to private conversations when he spent 8 months having secret ones with Monica. He started going on about how things with Monica aren't what I think and it's complicated. I said, explain it. Then he said they met online and started talking and developed feelings, but it wasn't physical, so it doesn't count as cheating. I asked if emotional cheating doesn't count, then why was he hiding it for 8 months? He said he didn't want to hurt me, but he couldn't help having feelings for someone else. I asked when he was planning to tell me, and he got quiet. Then he said he was figuring it out and trying to make the right decision. I told him he already made the decision when he started apartment hunting in Denver and planning a whole life without me. He tried to say the apartment thing was just research. He wasn't serious about moving. I said, you told your friends you're leaving next month and quitting your job. He goes, I was exaggerating. Okay, I say things I don't mean when I'm gaming. I asked if he also didn't mean calling me convenient in practice and delusional. He went quiet again and then said those words came out wrong, but I know what he meant. I said, no, I heard what he meant and it was perfectly clear. He thinks I'm stupid and boring and beneath him compared to Monica. Justin started getting defensive, saying he never said I was stupid. I said, you said Monica is smart and I'm not, which implies I'm the opposite. He goes, that's not what I meant. You're twisting my words. I told him I have his exact words on recording, so there's no twisting happening. Then he switched tactics and said, fine, he messed up, but people make mistakes. And what about all the good times we had together? I said, the good times don't erase 8 months of lies. He asked about the pregnancy and what I'm planning to do. I told him that's none of his business right now. He said it's his baby, too, and he has a right to know. I asked him if he planned to tell Monica about the baby before making me pay for an abortion. He said, that's not fair and I'm taking things out of context. I said, the context is you were planning to force me into an abortion and then disappear to Denver. He tried to claim he never said force, and he would have supported whatever I decided. Pop-up, I told him that's a lie and we both know it. He wanted me gone so he could start his new life with Monica guilt-free. He started yelling about how I'm putting words in his mouth and I'm being vindictive. I said vindictive would be posting the recording publicly, which I haven't done. He goes, don't do that, please. I'm begging you." I asked why not, and he said it would ruin his reputation and hurt his job prospects. I said maybe he should have thought about that before cheating on his pregnant girlfriend. He said he's not cheating because nothing physical happened with Monica. I asked if he really thinks that matters, and he said legally, yes, it does legally. This man is really trying to use technicalities to justify emotional infidelity. I told him we're done with this conversation, and he needs to stop calling me. He said we're not done until we figure out living arrangements and the pregnancy situation. I said, I'm not going back to that apartment and he can have it. He goes, the lease is in both our names and I'm responsible for half the rent. I told him that's between him and the landlord now because I'm not paying for a place I'm not living in. He said, that's not fair and will hurt my credit. I said, my credit is the least of my concerns right now. Louise grabbed the phone from me and told Justin to stop harassing her sister or she's calling the cops. Justin said he has every right to talk to his girlfriend, and Louise goes, she's not your girlfriend anymore. You lost that privilege when you cheated. He tried to argue and she hung up on him. Friday morning, I woke up so nauseous I barely made it to the bathroom. Louise heard me getting sick and came to check on me. She sat on the bathroom floor while I threw up and said, we need to get me to a doctor today. I told her I have an appointment Monday, but she said that's too long to wait if I'm this sick. She called her family doctor and somehow got me a same-day appointment for Friday afternoon. We drove there and I had to fill out all this paperwork about pregnancy history and the father's medical history. And I just left Justin's sections blank because what do I even put? Father is a lying cheater. The doctor confirmed I'm about 6 weeks pregnant based on my last period. Asked if this was planned and I said sort of, but now I'm not with the father anymore. She was very neutral and professional about it. Explained my options and gave me information on prenatal care if I decide to continue the pregnancy and information on abortion services if I decide to terminate. I left that appointment with so many pamphlets and brochures and my head spinning. Louise took me to get frozen yogurt after because I hadn't eaten anything all day. We sat in the parking lot and she asked what I'm leaning toward and I said, honestly, I don't know. Part of me wants to keep the baby because I always wanted kids eventually, and I'm financially stable enough. But part of me can't imagine being tied to Justin forever through a child, co-parenting with someone who thinks I'm convenient. Watching him potentially move to Denver with Monica while I'm raising our kid alone. Louise said, whatever I decide, she supports me completely. That this is my choice and my body and my future. My mom called while we were sitting there and I told her about the doctor appointment. She said the same thing, that she'll support whatever I choose, but I need to make the decision for me, not based on Justin or anyone else's opinions. Friday evening, I was back at Louie's house lying in bed when my phone dinged with an Instagram DM from Monica. She said, we need to talk. Can I call you? I said, okay, and gave her my number. She called 5 minutes later and her voice was shaking. Said she's been a complete mess since I contacted her and she needs to understand what's real. I asked what Justin told her about me, and she said he told her I was his ex who he stayed friends with and sometimes let crash at his place when I needed somewhere to stay. I gasped. He told her I was his ex, not his girlfriend, not the person he lives with and sleeps next to every night. His ex who crashes there sometimes. Monica said she had no idea we were actually together and living together, and definitely no idea I was pregnant. I asked her how long they've been talking, and she said since last summer. They met in some online gaming community and started messaging, and then moved to video calls and texting constantly. She said Justin told her he was single and looking to relocate to Denver for a fresh start. Monica said she helped him apply for jobs at her company because they were looking for someone with his skills, that she introduced him to her friends, and they'd been making plans for when he moved there. She thought they were starting a real relationship. I told her we've been together 2 years and living together for over a year, and we were literally planning a future until Wednesday when I overheard him on Discord. Monica started crying and said she feels so stupid and used that she was falling for him and thought he was falling for her, too. I said I'm sorry she got dragged into this, and she said she's sorry I got hurt worse, that at least she only wasted 8 months while I wasted 2 years. We both just sat there on the phone crying for a minute. Then Monica said something that made me so angry. She said Justin called her Friday morning begging her not to end things, saying I'm lying about being pregnant to trap him, and she shouldn't believe anything I say, that he loves her and wants to be with her, and I'm just trying to ruin his life out of jealousy. I asked if she believed him, and Monica said not after seeing all the proof I sent her. She told him to never contact her again and blocked him everywhere. He's apparently been trying to reach her through mutual gaming friends, but she's ignoring all of it. We talked for almost an hour. By the end, Monica said if I need anything or if Justin tries to manipulate the situation more, she's happy to back me up. I thanked her and we ended the call. It was so weird bonding with Justin's affair partner, but also she got lied to just like I did. Saturday morning, Justin showed up at Lewis's house again, 7:00 a.m., banging on the door. Jude went downstairs in his pajamas and opened the door with the chain still on. Justin tried to push his way inside, saying he needs to talk to me right now. Jude told him to leave or he's calling the cops. Justin said he's not leaving until I come down and talk to him like an adult. I heard all this from upstairs and came down in my pajamas with my phone already recording. Stood behind Jude and told Justin through the chain he needs to leave. Justin looked terrible, like he hadn't slept or showered. He said I've ruined everything by talking to Monica. I said I didn't ruin anything. He did by lying to both of us. He tried to say he never lied. He just didn't tell Monica certain details. I asked if admitting that you have a living girlfriend counts as lying, and he said it's complicated. Update 3 coming because Saturday turned into an absolute nightmare when Justin completely lost it and made a scene that got the police involved. Last update. So Saturday morning at 7:00 a.m., standing there at Louie's door with the chain still on, Justin looked at me and said we need to have an actual conversation, not through a door. I told him we have nothing to discuss, and he needs to accept that we're over. He said I can't just end a 2-year relationship without giving him a real chance to fight for it. Fight for it. Like this is some romantic movie where the guy makes a grand gesture and everything's forgiven. I told him there's nothing romantic about cheating for 8 months and calling me delusional to his gaming buddies. He said those were just words and words don't matter as much as actions. I laughed, asked him what actions exactly, the action of apartment hunting in Denver or the action of planning my abortion without my input. He tried to say I'm being unfair and taking everything to the extreme. I said there's no extreme here, just facts. He cheated and lied and planned to abandon me. Justin started getting louder, saying, I won't even listen to his explanations. That if I just sit down with him for 1 hour, he could make me understand. Jude told him to lower his voice because it's 7:00 a.m. and the neighbors are sleeping. Justin ignored him completely and kept going on about how I'm throwing away something real over a mistake. I said 8 months isn't a mistake. It's a choice he made every single day. He goes, people make bad choices when they're unhappy, and I should try to understand what led him to Monica instead of just judging him. I asked if he's seriously blaming me for his cheating, and he said he's not blaming anyone. But our relationship had problems, and I was too busy with work to notice. Too busy with work. I work with set hours while he works from home with a flexible schedule, but somehow I'm the one who wasn't available enough. I told him that's complete garbage, and he knows it. He said I never wanted to do things he enjoyed like gaming or going out with his friends. I reminded him I went out with his friends multiple times, and he always made me feel unwelcome in those spaces. He said that's not true and I'm remembering wrong. I asked Jude and Louise, who were both standing right there, if I looked like I was remembering wrong, and they both said Justin needs to leave now. Justin started yelling about how everyone is turning against him because of lies I'm spreading, that his parents won't talk to him properly, and his sister is being cold, and Monica blocked him, and it's all my fault for sending that recording around. I said it's his fault for saying those things in the first place. He tried to grab my hand through the door chain gap, and I stepped back. He goes, please, baby, I'm falling apart without you, and I need you to just listen. I told him I'm not his baby anymore, and I listened plenty on Wednesday when he called me convenient and practice. Then Justin completely lost it. Started screaming about how I'm a vindictive person who wants to destroy him, that I got pregnant on purpose to trap him, that I probably cheated too, and the baby might not even be his. Louise gasped, and Jude told Justin he has 10 seconds to get off the property. I just stared at Justin through that door gap. This man who I loved for 2 years, who I cooked for and cleaned for and supported emotionally and financially, who I thought I'd maybe marry someday. And he's standing there in yesterday's clothes, screaming that I trapped him with a pregnancy I found out about the same day as his betrayal. I told him very calmly that he's shown me exactly who he is and I'm done. That he needs to get his stuff out of the apartment by the end of the month because I'm having my name taken off the lease. Justin started pounding on the door with his fist, pounding, yelling about how he's not leaving until I come outside and talk to him properly. Jude already had his phone out calling 911. Justin saw through the window and said, "You're really calling the cops on me?" And Jude said, "Yes, you're trespassing and harassing people." The police showed up in like 8 minutes. 2 officers. Justin immediately switched his whole demeanor to polite and calm. Told the officers there's been a misunderstanding, and he just wants to talk to his girlfriend who's inside. The officer asked if I wanted to come out and talk, and I said, "No, he's been harassing me for days, and I want him to leave." Justin tried to explain to the officers that we live together and we're having a relationship dispute, and this is all blown out of proportion. I opened the door with Jude and Louise behind me and told the officers we used to live together, but I left Wednesday after discovering he's been cheating on me, and he's been showing up here multiple times, refusing to accept it's over. One officer asked Justin if that's true, and Justin said it's more complicated than that, and relationships have ups and downs. The officer said that might be true, but she's asking him to leave private property, and he needs to respect that. Justin argued that he has a right to talk to the mother of his child. I told the officers I'm 6 weeks pregnant and only found out Wednesday, and Justin's response was to tell his friends he'd make me pay for an abortion. Justin's face went red. He said, "That's taken out of context, and the officers don't understand the full situation." The officer said, "The full situation is he needs to leave now, and if he shows up here again, they'll arrest him for harassment." Justin looked at me with these eyes like I just betrayed him in the worst way possible, said, "I'm going to regret this," and walked to his car. The officers waited until he drove away and then asked if I wanted to file a formal report. I said yes, and they took my statement right there on Louise's porch. I showed them the recording from Wednesday. They listened to the whole thing, and one officer actually shook her head looking disgusted. She said, "This is clear evidence of his intentions regarding the pregnancy, and if I decide to pursue child support, this will be helpful." I thanked them and they left. Went back inside and just collapsed on Louie's couch. My mom had driven over during the police situation and she sat next to me going, "Baby girl, you handled that perfectly." I told her, "I don't feel like I handled anything perfectly." "I feel like a mess," she said. "Standing up for yourself isn't messy." It's strong. Saturday afternoon, I was lying in the guest room when Kay texted me asking if I was okay. Said she heard from her dad that police were called, and Justin is telling everyone I'm being dramatic and cruel. I sent her screenshots of Justin's texts from the past few days, including the ones where he said I trapped him with a pregnancy. Kay called me immediately, said she doesn't even recognize her brother anymore, and she's ashamed to be related to him. That her parents are arguing constantly about whether to keep supporting Justin emotionally or cut him off for what he did. I told her that's between them and their son, but I appreciate her support. She asked what I'm going to do about the baby, and I said I'm still deciding. She said whatever I choose, she'll support me, and if I keep it. She wants to be involved as an aunt if I'm comfortable with that. I told her I'd think about it, and we hung up. Sunday morning, I woke up and made a decision. I'm keeping the baby. Not because of Justin or his family or anyone else's opinion. Because I'm 28 with a stable job and a support system, and I've always wanted kids. Because this baby deserves a chance regardless of how messed up the circumstances are. I told my mom first. She cried happy tears and said she'll help me with everything. Then I told Louise and Jude, and they were so excited. Louise immediately started planning how to turn their spare room into a nursery for when I stay over. My mom said I can move in with her and my dad until I figure out a new living situation. Sunday afternoon, I went back to the apartment for the first time since Wednesday. Brought my mom and Jude with me in case Justin was there. He wasn't, but the place was trashed. Dishes everywhere, clothes on the floor. It looked like he'd been living like a feral animal for 4 days. I packed up all my remaining stuff, my books and kitchen things and bathroom stuff. Took photos of the apartment condition for the landlord, found the lease paperwork, and saw we're both on it through August. Called the landlord from right there and explained I'm moving out due to a breakup and need to be removed from the lease. The landlord was understanding and said she'll draw up new paperwork for Justin to sign, taking full financial responsibility. I asked what happens if he can't afford it alone, and she said that's his problem, not mine. I thanked her and finished packing. Found a framed photo of me and Justin from last year sitting face down on his desk. Next to it was his laptop open to Discord. I looked at his recent messages and saw him telling his gaming friends that I'm psycho and trying to ruin his life over nothing. That Monica was his soulmate, and I destroyed it because I'm jealous and controlling. I took a photo of those messages on my phone. More evidence if I ever need it. We loaded my stuff into Jude's truck and my mom's car, and I took one last look at that apartment. 2 years of my life spent there thinking I was building something real. I left my key on the kitchen counter and walked out. Monday evening, my mom picked me up from work and took me to her house. My childhood bedroom was already set up for me. She'd cleaned and put fresh sheets on the bed and cleared space in the closet. I almost cried seeing how much effort she put in. My dad got home from work and gave me the biggest hug. Said he's proud of me for leaving Justin and choosing myself and the baby. That any man who treats his daughter that way doesn't deserve her. We had dinner together, and for the first time in days, I felt almost normal. Tuesday morning, I woke up in my old bedroom and checked my phone. Monica had sent me an Instagram DM overnight. Said she wanted me to know that Justin has been trying to contact her through mutual gaming friends, begging her to give him another chance, that he's telling people I'm lying about being pregnant, and Monica is the only woman he actually loves. She said she keeps shutting it down and blocking people who try to pass messages, that she feels stupid for falling for him, but she's glad we both got away. I thanked her and told her she's not stupid. He's just a really good liar. She said if I need her to verify anything for legal purposes, she's willing to help. Wednesday afternoon, a week after everything exploded, I was at my mom's house when someone rang the doorbell. My dad answered, and it was Justin. Justin at my parents' house. My dad immediately told him to leave, and Justin said he just needs 5 minutes with me to apologize properly. I came to the door and told Justin he's not welcome here and he needs to go. He said he's been in counseling for 3 days and his therapist suggested he make amends. I told him I don't care what his therapist suggested. He doesn't get to show up at my parents' house demanding anything. He tried to hand me a letter he'd written. My dad stepped between us and said, "She doesn't want your letter now." Justin looked at me over my dad's shoulder and said, "Please, I'm trying to do better and I deserve a chance to prove it." I said, "The chance was 2 years of our relationship and he wasted it on Monica." Justin said, "Monica doesn't matter anymore. It was always me he loved." I asked if that's why he called me convenient and delusional in practice. He said those were horrible things. He said when he was confused about his feelings, I told him to take his letter and his confusion and leave my family alone. My dad physically walked Justin back to his car. I watched from the doorway as Justin got in and just sat there for a minute before driving away. It's been 2 weeks now since I found out about everything. I'm living with my parents and looking for my own apartment. I haven't posted the recording publicly like people suggested. Didn't need to. Everyone who matters knows what happened, and Justin has to live with the consequences of his own words and actions. Shout out to everyone who told me to choose myself and the baby over Justin's manipulation. You were so right. To the person who said he'd try to play victim after facing consequences, you nailed it. To everyone who shared their own stories of pregnancy and leaving toxic partners, thank you for making me feel less alone. I'm 28 years old, pregnant, living with my parents and single. And you know what? I'm good. Better than good. I'm free from someone who saw me as convenient and temporary. Free from being practice for someone else's real relationship. Free to build the life I actually want. Justin can have his counseling and his apology letters and his victim narrative. I'm too busy growing a human and planning my future to care what he's.